With the last pick in this year's draft.
All right, so we know who the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints will be when they take on the Washington Commanders down in New Orleans. It will be the one and only Jake Haener. Now, I'm cool with Jake Haener being the starter over Spencer Rattler, but I have to say, if he goes out there and bomb, hold him to the same accountability that you held Spencer Rattler to. I feel like Spencer Rattler got an unshared shake at the quarterback position. The offensive line was completely obliterated. Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave was out. No Taysom Hill. And if I'm not mistaken, Alvin Kamara was a bit injured during that time too. So with a slightly better team, hopefully Jake Haener can do a better job. However, if he does not do a good job, hold him to the same accountability, the same standard that you held Spencer Rattler to. Because there is a lot of people out there that are hypocritical and biased to the players that they like. And they go extremely hard on the people who they don't like. And for some reason, Spencer Rattler gets a lot of hate that should be going to other players. It's a whole lot of goalpost movement, and I'm not here for it. So with that being said, good luck to Jake Haener. I did not have the Saints winning with Derek Carr, and I still have them not winning with Jake Haener. But my advice to Jake Haener would be stay off the PEDs, bro. Stay off the roids. Go natty. Natty Nation. Speaking on Jake Haener being the starting quarterback, we must talk about the original starting quarterback, Derek Carr. In my last video, I was recording while the injury was happening. Derek Carr wanted to be Taysom Hill and got put on the shelf just like Taysom Hill. But the thing about Taysom Hill, he goes out there and he takes a beating and he gives a beating, so his injury is more understandable and more respectable. But on a 2nd and 10 with 8 yards gained, why would you jump over your teammate to try to get a first down? That was never in your game, Derek Carr. There was news reports that the coaching staff was looking for the next Taysom Hill on the roster, and one person came out and said that he could do what Taysom Hill does.
Stop the cap.
I wholeheartedly believe it was Derek Carr that came out and said that he could do the things that Taysom Hill does.
Boy, if you don't...
Because, bro, what the hell were you thinking? In all of your 11 years as a quarterback, when have you ever done some shit like that? And I'm not trying to cuss, but stupid things make you say stupid shit. So you guys are going to just have to forgive me on this. After watching the All-22 on the game against the Giants, I kind of see why Derek Carr jumped over his teammate to try to get the extra yardage. We could say a lot of things about Derek Carr as a player. He's mediocre. He only plays good against bad teams. He's only won one game against playoff caliber teams in the last 2 years. He leaves a lot on the field. He leaves a lot to be desired. But one thing you can't take from Derek Carr is his toughness. But the thing about toughness, that doesn't always get you W's in the win column. And I know some of you will come on here and say that it's not Derek Carr's fault why there's not wins in the win column. You can't blame everything on the team all the time. Every time something goes wrong, it's everyone's fault but Derek Carr. And I believe the real fans of the New Orleans Saints understand that. It is the people who are Raiders fans, Fresno State fans, or just Carr fans in general who like to debate that it's everyone's fault but Derek Carr. And I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you right now, the Carr experience in New Orleans has been a dud. Nick Underhill also said what I'm about to say. Can Derek Carr go somewhere else and win? Sure, maybe, but he is not going to win anything of importance in a Saints uniform. Like seriously, what are the metrics? To just win a few games here and there and look good in certain games? To barely make the playoffs? Every fan and team's goal is to make it to the playoffs and have a deep playoff run, possibly becoming a Super Bowl contender. And to be completely honest, I don't see Derek Carr leading the New Orleans Saints to any of that. And even if the New Orleans Saints had a chance this year to make it to the playoffs, Derek Carr tricked himself out of the position to possibly see where it could go. So now in the final stretch of the season where you have to go up against 3 potential playoff teams, you're on the sideline with a concussion and a fractured hand. I honestly prefer you to be smart versus tough. And with all that being said, there is legit talks that Derek Carr may not be on the team next year. There are some theories that say that the Saints will just eat the dead cap number, kind of like what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson. There's talks that if a new coach come in, he's going to want a new offensive coordinator and they're going to want their guy. A lot of these coaches don't want to hitch their wagon to a quarterback that they didn't pick. And I hate to bring this guy up, but Dennis Allen did the same thing with Jameis Winston and Derek Carr. And I really hate referring to Dennis Allen in the head coach capacity because he was pure trash, doo-doo water. He held grudges. Just, man, I don't know how or why Mickey Loomis thought that that was the way to go. And speaking of head coaches, I do not think at this point in time that Darren Rizzi should just get the job as the head coach for next year and going into the future. He hasn't really shown me anything that suggests that he's going to be a great head coach going forward. The wins that the Saints have gotten under Darren Rizzi is just a product of the talent that the team has. He hasn't done anything that suggests that he's going to be a great head coach. There's still no halftime adjustments and the team still sputters. Just because he has a cool name and he's a likable guy and he yells at players when they mess up, that does not mean you're a great head coach. And again, it just falls back on us being so pacified and thinking just because something feels good that everything is great. Now, if Darren Rizzi go out there and beat the Commanders, beat the Packers, Packers and beat the Buccaneers, you should legitimately give him a shot. Do not do the old Dennis Allen Ole, where you bring in all these potential head coaches, but you know for sure you're gonna pick the guy that's in-house. Please do your due diligence, New Orleans Saints, and hire the guy that's best for the job. Do the interview process correct. You know the New Orleans Saints had this, oh, he's a buddy, he's been in the organization, I go golfing with him on Sunday, he should be the next coach type of mentality. No, if there is a better coaching candidate outside of the New Orleans Saints, you do your due diligence, because at this point, Darren Rizzi hasn't shown me anything. The only thing that he has shown me is that he holds the players accountable. Yes, that is something that a good head coach should do, but it takes more than having a cool name, yelling at the players when they do something wrong, having ultimate vibes to be a good head coach in the NFL. Like, seriously, what are we talking about here? I was watching one of his press conferences, and it seemed like he didn't know anything besides what he does, which is special teams. They were asking him questions about the offense, and it seemed like he didn't have a clue what was going on. It's like the Oakland Raiders all over again. You get an intern head coach, you get a bump in energy, they win a few games, and then the next year you see exactly what you signed up for. Man, the next few months are about to be really entertaining and interesting. I am really curious to see which way the Saints go. Will the Saints get a new head coach? Will that head coach want all his guys? Will his guys win a new quarterback? What do we do with Derek Carr? Does Derek Carr ever win a playoff game? I guess we'll have to find out on the next episode of the New Orleans Saints.